want you to go about halfway. Well, actually, it's in the, it's not quite halfway. There's a page that looks like this. It's just, it's 15 or 20 pages in, I guess. Yeah. How many of you think you own your property? March 9th, 1933, Senate document number 43. 73rd Congress, first session. The ownership of all property is in the state. Individual so-called ownership is only by virtue of government, that is, law amounting to mere user, and use must be in accordance with law and subordinate to the necessities of the state. Tell me about your land patent. My first question to anybody that's trying to sell me a land patent is, what year was the patent granted? The original patent. Because guess what? If it was after 1861, it's a waste of paper. How can an entity that doesn't exist grant you a land patent? With the suspension of the Constitution, how can there be any granting of anything, let alone absolute title? How can they say all property belongs to the state? On February 19th, 1871, by an act of Congress, there was created a government called the District of Columbia. In 1878, it was changed. The name District of Columbia was changed to the United States. So you have a government created on top of a government. Now, that isn't speculation. That's the record. I'm not some right-wing kook, although I'm just to the right of Attila the Hun. That is in the record. That is the record. I have the act of Congress at home that created the government of the District of Columbia. Okay? 1871. The 14th Amendment came in about then. They held a gun to the South's head and said, you will pass this, or we'll just keep going. And then they called it Reconstruction. They reconstructed government. That's what they reconstructed. Okay? There's a theory out there that in 1861, when all of this went down with the process, that Lincoln finally figured it out. And Lincoln was going to undo the suspension of the Constitution, reinstitute government, and he had figured out the debt scheme that was going on. He was going to repudiate the debt to England and print and distribute greenbacks. For his efforts, he got killed. Okay? And strangely enough, 100 years later, another president who figured out the same thing and was going to do the same thing, he got killed. Okay? And on the internet lately, there's been a little deal going around that of the correlation of Kennedy and Lincoln and all the things there that are similar. It's fascinating. I didn't bring it with me, but it's pretty interesting stuff. If you're going to mess with the money, you're in harm's way. It's what it amounts to. And I can testify personally to that event. Okay? Don't mess with the money. Okay? Now, leave it at this. There can be no contract made requiring a particular kind of coin or currency, or in an amount of money of the United States measured thereby. That's against public policy. Okay? So it was a little shocking to me to learn that all property belongs to the state. Not only was it a little shocking, it was a little disconcerting. And I want to back up here just for a minute into this. I put some things in here that I wanted you to have, because one of the first things that we do, that I do, is I remove all my voter registration. What do I want to vote for? Everybody says, well, you can't change anything if you don't vote. Do you understand what you're changing when you vote? You're understanding, you're changing the overseers of the bankruptcy. All you're doing is changing the trustee faces. Okay? James Traficant said in 1993 on the floor of the House of Representatives, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that all we're here to do is oversee the largest bankruptcy in the history of the world. Anybody ever heard that before? James Traficant, congressman from Ohio, in 1993, said that. Okay? So I put in a couple sample letters here. First of all, I start at the county. Now that's the second letter, I got it out of order. I start at my county and I just say, dear clerk, this is my notice and request you to remove my signature from the voter registration rolls, and then I type in your county. Thank you for your assistance in this matter. Okay? Oh, it's in there. I guess I could have put a page number on it. Sorry. No, it's in the first 15 pages. Yeah, it says on the bottom 404. I don't know where that came from. Okay? Then the page before that goes to the Federal District Court. Why? You know where the Federal District Court gets its citizens? From voter registration rolls. So I send this letter to the Federal District Court, and I say essentially the same thing, except I enclose a certified, true, correct, and complete copy of my voter registration card that I removed from the county that says removed by request on it, and I send a copy of it so that I'm removed from the Federal District Court rolls. Okay? That's the way I do it. Then I'm ready to move forward with the other things that I'm going to do. Now, I want to, I'll organize this a little bit better for you so that we can track through this. If you go back to just after cognitive dissonance, you're going to see a thing there, a letter from a United States Senate on behalf of Senator In No Way. Y'all heard of Senator In No Way, right? Based on the research performed by the Congressional Research Service, there is no provision which specifically and unequivocally requires an individual to pay income taxes. And then you go into the however. If you don't comply with this voluntary system, there's all kinds of what do they call that? Well, no, that's not the word I'm looking for. When you say one thing and mean another. Yeah, it's ambiguous, it's confusing, but even more importantly, it's diametrically opposed one to the other. Okay, I put this next little letter in here because the Department of Transportation won't give you a driver's license if you don't give them a Social Security number in many states now. But a friend of mine that I was just with in California a couple weeks ago had just done this very thing right here, where from the Social Security denial notice, it says, we are unable to process your application for a Social Security number because, well, Down at the bottom it says other. Due to your religious beliefs, you have requested not to be issued a Social Security number.